time. He was running for a term, trying to get back into the White House. Right before he got to give a speech, he got shot in the chest. That's Theodore Roosevelt. He proceeded to get up there and give the speech because the thing that saved his life was the fact that he had written about an hour and a half long speech. And the bullet went right through the speech and lodged just over his heart. Gave the speech, then he went to the hospital. I come from the state of Texas, where I know that we have AR-15s, and no speech is going to stop me or stop anybody from taking me down if I say something stupid. So, therefore, I decided to write roughly a 9-page speech rather than a 100-page speech. So let's dive right into it. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming out this evening to witness the start of what we're calling a new era in American politics. An era where young conservatives stand up and say, enough is enough. We are not going to sit by and complain when our nation faces adversity from within and from without. We are going to stand up and we are going to face that challenge. We are not going to simply complain about how our leaders have lied to us, how they've let us down, or how they've not solved the problems that they were sent to Washington to fix. What you see this evening is the beginning of a new generation of bold leadership that will actually get stuff done. Now, I was born not far from here, in a little town called Fort Worth. And I grew up in an even smaller town of roughly 700 people when I moved there, at 2 years old, off of US Highway 67. My mom homeschooled all 7 of us, while my dad drove delivery trucks to pay the bills. If I learned 3 things from my parents, it would be these. 1, moms deserve to be nominated for sainthood. 2, work hard and give it your all in everything that you do. And 3, it does not matter how much money you have or how well connected you are, you can always help someone. And you should always look for a reason to help someone. 3 years ago, I was working as a mechanical engineer and I lost a very, very dear friend of mine to an opioid overdose. And I knew right then and right there that I needed to work hard and I needed to help someone. So I took everything that I had and I started a medical device company that's focused on ending the opioid crisis. Some of you here today have taken that journey with me as we've developed a device that measures how much pain medication is in a patient's system and acts like an insulin pump to deliver the amount of medication that they need so they don't get addicted to their pain medication. What many of y'all don't know is that in the course of those 3 years, I moved out of my apartment and into my car so that every spare dollar could go towards preventing Americans from getting addicted to their pain meds while I drove for Uber at night and I delivered pizzas on the weekends. But as we here in Texas have been struggling, our country has not been working for us. Well, thousands of us have lost our jobs and struggled to pay our bills. Our own congressman took $1.5 million of our dollars to bail out his $60 million a year car business. Well, thousands of our kids died of fentanyl poisoning. Our own congressman refused to secure the border because it might endanger his pet projects. Well, we live here, and we work here, and we struggle here. Our congressman chose to not even live in our district for 10 years. All from someone who has not passed a bill since 2014. Right now, it costs $40 to $100 to fill up a tank of gas. And banks are collapsing because they made risky bets with our money. And they know that they can do whatever they want because the government will bail them out, including a certain member of the House Financial Services Committee that we bailed out. We must do better, and we will do better. We can no longer sit idly by while all representatives don't consult us, they serve wealthy donors, and live off of our hard-earned money. We can no longer stay silent while our congressmen get caught insider trading, cheating the system, and getting rich. We can no longer stay out of the race, Jake and I, when our brothers and sisters are dying, and those who are supposed to represent us refuse to do anything because they run unopposed and they have taken our votes for granted. When we look at Congress, we see decades of broken promises and a track record of failure. We see a system that only serves wealthy donors and career politicians. While they get rich on our dime, we struggle to keep gas in our cars, food on our tables, and roofs over our heads. But today, we have a choice. We have a choice to make that the politics of yesterday. So let's let the sun set on yesterday and rise on a new generation of bold leadership that will deliver Texas values to Washington, and not only that, but deliver actual results for us here at home. And that's why today, I'm announcing my candidacy for the Republican nomination for Congress and U.S. House District 25, the district I grew up in, and the district I'm proud to call home. While I was living in my car, I was still blessed. Blessed to have a purpose in the work that I was doing, and blessed to have a great support system. I was blessed that my parents let me use their address as my home address. I know it sounds so small, but if you are homeless in this country and you do not have an address, you cannot apply for a job, you cannot get an ID, and you will be stuck in a system and a cycle of homelessness that you will never get out of. But there are things that we can do about that here today. Easy things that we can do. We can pass a bill to allow the homeless to use their local post as a mailing and home address for job applications and to collect paychecks at $0 to us. We can end hiring discrimination based on housing status so that those who desperately want to get back on their feet and put a roof over their heads have the opportunity to do just that. Those who want to make an honest dollar and an honest day's hard work have the opportunity to do that. And they're not shut out because they're too poor to keep a roof over their head. Let's end the cycle of homelessness in America. Now, we have all heard about the dangers of illicit fentanyl that has been flooding into our communities and poisoning our children. Fentanyl is a powerful opioid that is 100 times more powerful than morphine. And enough fentanyl to cover Lincoln's eye on a penny is enough to kill most adult men. Drug dealers will lace other pain medications and even marijuana with fentanyl to make it more addictive. But it can also be very deadly. This last year, we've seen an 80% increase in the number of opioid overdose deaths here in the state of Texas, including right here in Tarrant County, across the county line in Johnson County. In fact, the 25th Congressional District in Texas contains the county with the highest rate of opioid overdose deaths per capita, Young County. Now, I've spoken with leaders of Young County about sensible solutions to end the opioid crisis and save the lives of our friends and our families. I've heard from grieving mothers and fathers who have lost kids even younger than my 10-year-old brother to fentanyl that those kids did not even know they were taking. Now, after a close friend of mine died of a drug overdose, I dedicated my life to ending the drug crisis in America. From founding a medical technology company to advocating for sensible solutions for overdose prevention. I spent every day working to save lives. If you don't believe me, ask Stephen, who's been in my company for the last couple of years. And I will continue my advocacy in Congress to bring solutions to the table, not just talking points. In that spirit, here's what I'm going to do. We will approach the drug crisis in America in 3 parts. The pull of drugs into America, right here at home. The push of drugs into America from across our southern border and the border itself. Here at home, I will introduce a bill to make it a federal offense to sell any drugs laced with fentanyl or any other poisonous substance known to be either addictive or potentially kill one of our young people. Fentanyl poisoning should be considered murder, and we should prosecute drug dealers that poison our children. And unlike our current representative, I will vote to fund a wall along the southern border and give our brave Border Patrol agents the resources that they actually need to defend our nation. Now, like all of you, I have seen too many pictures of the bodies that are found every single day on our southern border. I've spoken to the ranchers who found those bodies on their southern border, on their ranches. These people are from all over the world, and they've become indebted to the cartels and the coyotes that are trafficking them into this country. And if they can't pay, they are abused and left to die in the desert. Now, I've been to the border, and I've been to Latin America, where many of these people are coming from. In fact, I'm going to some of the choke points of mass migration in Latin America later this week. And my heart breaks for the families that think that their only option is to pack up what they have, pack up their kids, put them on their back, and walk 1,000, 2,000, 3 miles in that direction, because that is their only hope. On the chance that when they get there, they can cross that border and enter that mythical land that they've heard about. The land of the free, and the home of the brave. A country where a kid with no money to his name can work his way through college, can start a business, become a professor, and even if you were living in your car, you can stand up for what you believe in and you can run for Congress. That, my friends, that is the American dream. And for the families who choose to walk the thousands of miles to get their family for the chance at that American dream, we have to do better. Yes, we need to secure the border, build the wall, and make it impossible for criminals to enter our country and wreak havoc in our local communities. We also have to make life better south of the border. We cannot allow China to continue to suck resources out of our neighbors, destroying their industry and leaving young men nowhere to turn for work except for the drug trade, and young women nowhere else to turn for work but human trafficking rings. Unless we work to push back China and rip power from the cartels, we will not solve the crisis at the southern border. It will continue to be a talking point for people in Washington for decades to come, while more people die trying to enter the land of the free and the home of the brave. And more of our kids die from the drugs the cartels are bringing across. But we actually today have a chance to bring solutions to Washington with our votes in 2024. Even before then, this campaign is helping the local community to address the fentanyl crisis. Community organizations and even individuals can go to our website, www.luccifortexas.com, and find a link to request free overdose reversing Narcan to save lives right here in our community. Check it out. Back here at home, there is still a lot more that we can be doing to make this a better place so that our citizens here in the United States of America can achieve the American dream. Now, I will fight to expand access to mental health care because mental illness and addiction are significant drivers of rising healthcare costs, and they destroy lives. Expanding access to mental health care is critical to ensuring that individuals have the resources and support that they need to address mental health issues, especially among our veterans. By expanding access to mental health care, we can reduce the stigma surrounding mental illness and drug addiction, and ensure that we receive the care that we need to live long, happy, healthy lives. On that note, let's expand the VA Mission Act and allow any veteran who lives anywhere to access health care at any provider, so that those who've given so much for us can receive the health care that they have earned by serving this great nation, with no wait times, because they can go right into their local clinic rather than having to drive a half hour or an hour or more to go to a VA hospital. This will help to save our rural hospitals as well, like those in Graham, Eastland, and Glenrose, hospitals that are at risk of closing because they don't have enough patients coming in the door, even though there are patients, veterans, who would prefer to go right down the street. If we do not do this, it will leave tens of thousands without access to health care in our rural communities here in District 25. A district that stretches from Arlington all the way out to almost Abilene. Well, there is a big fight going on right now in Washington about whether to increase the debt limit and allow politicians to borrow more money for bloated and ineffective government programs. Let's remember that our current Congressman Roger Williams voted for trillions in new spending that America can't afford. We cannot allow career politicians to mortgage our children's future. We have to cut spending. We have to stop bailing out politicians and stop taking out loans against our children to fund their pet projects. With oil leases and the sale of unused federal lands, we can even cut taxes and have a balanced budget. If it wasn't for the bureaucrats and overpaid politicians in Washington. And on that topic, I'll be introducing an amendment to reduce the tax rate for working families because it's already so hard to raise a family in this country. Now what you see on my wrist is a bracelet that says pro-life. I got this in college when I was working with an organization called Mustangs for Life. So as you might guess, I am unapologetically pro-life. With the Dobbs decision, our generation has overturned Roe v. Wade. Everyone here who voted in the last several decades of elections has had a hand in that and saved hundreds of thousands of babies from being murdered in the last year alone. But I believe that all life is precious, and every child is made in the image of God. It should not matter whether you would have been born in Texas or California, Florida, or New York. All preborn children should have the same protection under the law. And that's why I will be fighting for a nationwide ban on abortion. And beyond that, for tax breaks for families that lovingly open up their home to foster children or adopt them. Because we all know that the foster care system got gutted after Roe v. Wade. We have to bring that back. We have to make it easier to raise a family in this country. And your parents' financial situation should not be the difference maker in whether you live or die in America. Because I'm pro-life, whole life, we have a link on our campaign website where expecting mothers can get free resources from organizations across the state. In fact, mothers of children of up to 3 years old can find things like diapers, food, even shelter by going to LucciForTexas.com, thanks to the kindness of people who believe that we are our brother's keeper, not the government. Finally, it's time to bring back manufacturing jobs to our rural communities. We're in a unique time in American history where our industries are coming back from overseas to avoid supply chain issues and geopolitical conflict. We have to make sure that those jobs end up here in our communities and not in overcrowded cities like Dallas and Houston. We should allow companies to bring back their wealth to America tax-free, so long as they invest here in our community and hire our friends, our brothers, our sisters, our children. Now, I know a lot of politicians talk about bringing jobs back to their district. This campaign, not about talking, it's about helping. We'll be offering free resume workshops throughout the district this entire campaign and bringing employers in for job fairs so that anyone in the 25th District of Texas is ready to market themselves for jobs already here, as well as building a deep pool of talent for companies looking to move to the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Facebook or on our website for those events. The first will actually be right here in Burleson next Thursday at the Burleson Public Library. Now there's a lot more that we need in this country, and a lot more that we need in this district. As much as they talk about Main Street, our representatives seem to care a lot more about what happens on the Main Street of Washington than on the Main Street of Burleson. In a district that stretches from Arlington down to Cleburne and from Albany to Dublin, we need real conservative solutions grown right here at home. We need a new generation of bold leaders that will actually get the job done. We need bold leaders who will go to City Hall, leaders who will go to Austin, and leaders who will go to Washington and will not forget the little guy. People who understand what it's like to start a business, people who've answered the call to teach in the classroom, and people who know what it's like to struggle here in Texas. We need bold leaders who will work hard and will always look for a way to help others. And we will finally deliver conservative victories as the sun rises on a new generation. Help us with that. You could go out and pull out your phone and either scan the QR code on the back of the cards that my little brother has graciously been handing out, or go to luccifortexas.com. I'll walk you through 3 ways that you can help. The first is, and this is always the uncomfortable part, these campaigns are expensive. At the bottom of the page, there's a red donate button. Every dollar puts gas in our tank, so that we can spread our message of bold conservative leadership across the entire district and across this entire country. A district that is larger than some states. A district that has twice the number of people in the state of Wyoming. A district that is larger than Connecticut and Rhode Island and most of Massachusetts combined. Let's get some skin in the game and tell the wealthy donors that run Washington, D.C. that we're electing one of our own this time. On the website, you'll also find a contact form. We're going to be needing volunteers to block off, to collect signatures for us to get on the ballot, and I'd appreciate if you'd sign our petition to get on the ballot before you leave here today. And most importantly, to pray for our community. At the bottom of the website, you'll also find some icons for various social media sites. We'll be adding a few more. Please like our page, share our posts, and invite friends to events. We all deserve better than the broken promises that we've gotten out of Washington. And we all need to see that there's a better option. Thank you all for coming out to be a part of the next generation of bold leadership. We are a group that is rising up. We are a group that is doing, not complaining. We are a group that is starting early because we believe in bold, conservative solutions to get the government off of our backs. Together, we will end the fentanyl crisis. Together, we will protect our communities. Together, we will be the ones that change the course of history for our brothers and our sisters, our parents and our kids, our friends, and for our entire great nation. Thank you. May God bless you. And may God bless the United States of America.